Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls. Welcome to Emergency Management Associates. We're coming to you live from the Area Command, 392 miles west of Kitty Hawk Beach, North Carolina. We want to welcome everybody to our show this evening. As with all other shows we've been doing, I urge you please stick around for the entire program. Otherwise, you're going to miss what we have to say, and this information may become very valuable to you for your own safety. We ask everybody to stand by for our entire program. It's essential that you get this information. If you don't get the information, then something might happen to you that you might not want to happen. We're giving you the information for your own safety, for everybody's safety. I want to make that perfectly clear here. Okay? The first thing I want to do tonight is to pay tribute to a Los Angeles police officer. This police officer's name was Shing Deng of the LAPD. He was a 26-plus year veteran of the LAPD. Now, yesterday morning, just after 2 a.m., he was on patrol. One of LA's finest police sergeants was working the traffic division. He saw an accident on southbound Interstate 405 in Los Angeles. He got out to assist a motorist and was hit by another vehicle. He was later transported to the University of Los Angeles, where he later passed away. Sergeant Deng, you will never be forgotten. I ask that you rest in peace. We have your watch from here. Thank you for your service, Sergeant. I want to thank this officer for his service to his community and also to his family. I don't often get the opportunity to honor a fallen officer. This officer died in the service to his community. He served, like I said, for almost 26 and a half years. May God bless his family. May God bless all those who loved you and who served with you as well. God be with you until we meet again. Thank you, Officer Deng, Sergeant Deng. Your memory will not be forgotten of all the wonderful things you've done, all the smiles you brought to officers and your family in this department. Thank you so much, Officer Deng. God rest your soul. Now, one of the first things I want to talk about tonight is something very troubling to me. It should also be troubling to everybody. Very much so. Very, very much so. Early this morning while we slept, something very dangerous happened. President Trump last night, just as we got off the air, was issuing a statement saying that he had a peace treaty that had been drawn up by him to protect Israel and also Iran. Both Israel and Iran agreed to the peace ceasefire. But early this morning, Iran broke it first. Iran fired a group of missiles headed for Israel. And something very bad happened. An apartment complex in Los Angeles an apartment complex in Israel was destroyed by a heavy-duty armed missile from Iran. After that missile struck here, another missile struck in Israel. Israel retaliated, which broke the ceasefire. There are some people that think that this was before the ceasefire went into effect. It was after the ceasefire went into effect, meaning Iran violated the ceasefire. As I said, then Iraq attacked Iran heavily. So technically, both of them violated the ceasefire that President Trump had cooked up for them. I shouldn't say cooked up, but he offered them. Today, President Trump is not very happy at all. I want to make that perfectly clear. President Trump is not happy at all. Okay? He went on the air this morning on the way to a NATO meeting in Brussels, Belgium. I want to tell you what he said here.
At this moment, President Trump is working aboard Air Force.
Excuse me. Let me show this to you. I just don't want to play the audio for you. I want to show you what happened. President Trump is not happy at all.
At this moment, President Trump is working aboard Air Force One to keep Israel and Iran committed to an historic ceasefire that he brokered. I'm Harris Faulkner. You are in the Faulkner Focus. That agreement stumbled overnight when Israel and Iran accused each other of firing missiles just after Trump had said the ceasefire is in effect. This morning, on his way to NATO, the summit there in the Netherlands, that's why he's aboard Air Force One, the president said he's out of patience with both nations.
These guys got to calm down. It's ridiculous. I didn't like plenty of things I saw yesterday. I didn't like the fact that Israel unloaded right after we made the deal. They didn't have to unload. And I didn't like the fact that the retaliation was very strong. I think they both violated it. Yeah. I don't think I'm not sure they did it intentionally. They couldn't rein people back. I don't like the fact that Israel went out this morning at all. And I'm going to see if I can stop it. So as soon as I get away from you, I'm going to see.
Well, shortly after that, the president posted this on your screen. Israel is not going to attack Iran. All planes will turn around and head home while doing a friendly plane wave to Iran. Nobody will be hurt. The ceasefire is in effect. Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu's office confirmed he spoke with the president and that Israel would refrain from further attacks. The statement adds President Trump expressed his immense appreciation for Israel, which achieved all of its war goals. The president also expressed his confidence in the stability of the ceasefire. U.S. Ambassador to NATO, Matt Whitaker, will be in focus moments from now. We begin with senior White House correspondent Peter Doocy, who is in The Hague, Netherlands, where that NATO summit will be held later today. Peter.
Harris, good morning. President Trump's baseline throughout this conflict has been that Israel has no greater friend than the United States. But today he showed that you can still sometimes get four-letter word frustrated with your friends.
You know what? We basically have two countries that have been fighting so long and so hard that they don't know what the they're doing. Do you understand that?
That's what he said, guys. He was that upset. He was that upset. Now, folks, I don't necessarily blame him for being upset at all. He sat down with those people on the phone live, watching them on video, brokering a ceasefire. Then they both violated it. And he led off with a four-letter expletive, as you heard. He's not happy. Not happy at all. He later got on board Air Force One and immediately tried to broker another deal to keep them apart. Okay? So technically, they both violated the ceasefire that President Trump had broken for them. He wasn't happy. President Trump did not give away many details about the ceasefire deal. Israel did not immediately comment. And Iran, which said it had agreed to the halt, sent a new wave of missiles towards Israel, killing 4 family members. Iran immediately violated the deal and Israel retaliated. 4 people of a family were killed in that apartment complex I showed you in Tel Aviv. The bottom of that apartment complex, there was a hardened bunker, a shelter, where everybody in that complex went to seek shelter from the bombs from Iran. This time there was a direct hit on that apartment complex and it disintegrated. 4 family members were killed. Emergency workers are still working to treat the people at the scene. President Trump said today that a ceasefire between Israel and Iran had started, but certainly uncertainty hung over the war as Israel's government had no immediate comment. And Iran, which said it had agreed to stop fighting, fired the wave of missiles at Israel, where those 4 people were killed. President Trump made the announcement after more than a week of missile strikes between Israel and Iran. 2 days after American bombers attacked Iranian nuclear facilities, then all of a sudden, Iran wants to broker a deal. Iran wanted to broker a deal. They went before that to the Netherlands or to Switzerland to broker a deal. But they walked away from the negotiation tables, and then that's when President Trump had it and sent those B-2 bombers, as well as B-52s, as well as F-16s, F-15s, F-18s, and other fighter planes over there. They did not encounter any damage at all. They didn't encounter any fighters get off the ground. Iran's fighter planes have been on the ground destroyed. Their whole retaliation has been destroyed except for those few missiles that they got off. Israel has now attacked Iran again, disabling their missile systems, completely disabling their missile systems. Tehran was pounded by the most intense and sustained airstrikes since the war began on June 13th. 15 residents speaking by phone and in text and some audio messages said large flames illuminated the night sky over the city. There were massive billows of smoke. Close to sunrise, the attacks came to an end, according to 4 residents. Surveillance video captured an incoming missile headed towards the residential buildings in Beersheba, Israel. Plumes of smoke billowed into the sky after the large explosion. Footage later released by Israel's main emergency service showed a damaged building and nearby cars left mangled by the blast. Let me show you that building again. It's been one of the hardest things that I've been able to even talk about or do when this happened. My father served in the military. I've served around the military myself in San Diego. Those of us that worked together had a plan in case the military base came under attack, that we would try to save ourselves and our family, our families, I should say. I detest war. I detest anything like it. But it happens. Now it could possibly happen here in the United States as well. Today, Israel's military's home front command has now given an all clear for the people in Israel to exit their bomb shelters in all parts of the country, after more than 2 hours of sporadic missile fire from Iran. Strict state of emergency regulations are to remain in place for now in Israel. Schools and all non-essential businesses and workplaces have been closed this day and probably into tomorrow, despite expectations of an early morning ceasefire. Israel's military just said further missiles had been launched from Iran at the Israeli territory. And of course, Israel wasn't going to stand down. Israel's main emergency services now announced that 3 people, 2 men and a woman, were also killed by the strike in southern Israel. 1 man was found by the entrance to a building. A direct hit at a badly damaged apartment complex surrounded by wrecked cars and rubble, as you see in this picture. Now, it can happen here as well. It can happen here as well. We have sleeper cells all over this area. We have sleeper cells all over the United States. Let me let you listen to this video as well. You need to hear this.
recently you just saw that I believe it was a known terrorist organization that was calling death to America and actually calling for assassinations on President Trump, Marco Rubio, J.D. Vance, and Elon Musk. But not just that, under the last administration, there was actually 10 known members of the terrorist watch list that were released into U.S. territory. And I say that being that, A, that's direct evidence, but also, two, we know that you brought up 9/11. They are definitely in their ideologies not playing games. They're not here to be friends. And there is a long-term end goal here, and that's terrorism and death to anyone that stands in their way. So I'm extremely concerned about it. In fact, so much so that the administration has pushed for Congress to receive a briefing on what's happening right now with Iran, given talks, actually on Tuesday at 3 p.m. So hopefully I'll come back then and have more to say after the fact.
Look, good, and it's good that there's a briefing. My position, I think you guys should be calling the shots about what happens here, and the president should be coming to you for instruction. That's what the Constitution and the adjacent laws demand. What do you think about what happened to your colleague, Max Miller? The Jewish member of Congress, with somebody trying to run him off the road. It's not getting a lot of attention. I got to be honest.
No, it's not. I actually reached out to Max directly about that right after I saw it happened. And unfortunately, right now, especially with heightened rhetoric, you saw what happened with the No Kings protests. I mean, this is only going to continue, so much so where members are actually next week also going to be doing a closed-door bipartisan session on security measures, because many of us have been, you know this, Chris, unfortunately victims of these death threats. But there's a lot of nut jobs out there. And again, when you have public-facing forward members, you're talking about the balance of power in one of the most powerful countries in the world, and then you have known terrorists in our country that are still on the loose. This is not fear-mongering. This is a very real threat. I'm glad that we have good agents at the FBI who are taking this seriously now, but it should have never gotten to this point.
Gags, that guy today with Max Miller, maybe Luna's right. That's a nut job, young kid doing a stupid thing that could have been attempted murder if it went really wrong. But a lot of these guys are not stupid kids, and they're not just fanatics. They're tactical, and they're waiting, and they're getting a lot of help these days from fanaticism and extremism in our culture. So what does that do, and what do you make of this signaling of the administration?
Well, Chris, first of all, I think there's a couple things to look at. One is, the direction or the inspiration by a hostile nation state. And look, Russia, China, North Korea, and yes, Iran, going back to the Cold War, specifically 1979, when obviously the Ayatollah Khomeini came in. But Chris, it's also important to understand January 3rd, 2020, which was just a little over 5 years ago, when President Trump called the strike that took out General Qasem Soleimani. Look, we know that Iran has basically been on a war path for us. You pointed it out earlier in the prior segment. Can they reach out and touch us? It's difficult, but the sleeper cells are a real problem. Why is that? 2,000-mile border between us and Mexico and a 5,000-mile border between us and Canada. It's people leaking across that, people from Iran, China, again, North Korea, Russia, that might stay dormant until they're either inspired or, in this case with the supreme leader in Iran, directed to cause some type of mayhem or harm.
And now how about this new overlay, Gags, of radicalization over the internet, where you get either the sleeper cell guys to contact angry young people in their communities, or you just do it straight over the internet? What does that do in terms of enhancing the threat?
So three things. So you're talking about OSINT, O-S-I-N-T, which is open source intelligence. Obviously, the FBI and all the intelligence community members are looking at the internet, but the internet is so vast, the dark nether regions, and we can't get to everywhere and everyone, and we have that pesky Fourth Amendment thing here. So when it comes to American citizens, now, looking at the Patriot Act, it does allow us to collect metadata or communications in the SIGINT realm, and that's the signal intelligence. We intercept communications. Anybody that's been deemed part of an FTO or a foreign terror organization, and Iran, by their proxy organization, Hezbollah out of Syria, they have been sponsoring terrorism since the dawn of time. So, yeah, we'll be picking it up that way, too.
Thank you for watching.
Okay. I want to play that segment so you understand what we're going to be talking about tonight. I want everybody to be very cautious. Like they said, there's sleeper cells here in the United States. And before I continue, I want to thank one of our strongest members ever, Sleeping Volcanoes, here with us in the chat. She got out of the hospital yesterday. She went home. She has a lot of restrictions. She's still in a lot of pain. I haven't spoken with her directly, but she's text messaged me as well. We're glad to see Sleeping Volcano here. Everyone say hi to Sleeping Volcano before you leave and wish her well. Sleeping Volcano is one of the strongest women I know. She's a great woman, as is her husband. We appreciate all the work she puts into putting up earthquakes on our earthquake volcano monitor thread on Messenger. Those of you that want to go there, it's under Quakes and Volcanoes on Messenger. Sharon manages that as well as I do. She's a great asset to what we do here on the Emergency Management Associates. So please, everyone, help her. Pray for her. She needs our help. Now, they spoke of sleeper cells. I want to ask all of you a question now. What is a sleeper cell? And why are the U.S. officials on high alert? How do sleeper cells operate? Sleeper cells are spies or terrorists here in the United States or abroad. They're all over the world. They are in Romania, they are in Croatia, they are in Ukraine, they are in England, they're in Scandinavia as well. Sleeper cells. Most of them got there because our countries allowed them to cross into our borders the last 4 years. They're here in our country, and we haven't been able to escape many of them yet. They're here, they're on our property, they're on our land here in our different countries, especially England and the United States and Canada. They're here, they're not supported by our countries at all. However, they're here to cause problems. They're here to cause problems in rival Western countries of the world. And they remain active while they are essentially ordered to act from foreign governments such as Iran and throughout the world in other countries. They have sleeper cells here in the US and the other countries, like I said, but quite frankly, they've been here for decades. They're waiting for just the right moment. A recent Homeland Security threat assessment confirms that Iran remains a primary state sponsor of terrorism, and they continue their efforts to target both current and former U.S. officials. They also target each individual citizen. This assessment echoes similar warnings issued by the Biden administration in 2024 that the Biden administration did not follow up on. The Biden administration actually were part of their cohorts. They allowed these sleeper cells to exist, and they provided them with ammunition. They provided them with a lot of things that they have, including bulletproof vests. They provided them with money. The U.S. is warning sleeper cells now that there is a threat, and we're going to rise and meet that threat. The United States warns sleeper cell threat is rising amid tensions with Iran. Former FBI agent said sleeper threats have entered the U.S. through the U.S. borders. The public is urged to stay alert. The Department of Homeland Security here in the United States and abroad, worldwide, issues a warning of caution. As tensions have escalated between the U.S. and Iran, the threat of sleeper cells has never been higher. According to U.S. Customs and Border Protection, although no specific or credible threats have yet emerged, they're still there. In a memo that has been obtained, CBP Commissioner Rodney Scott said this, quote, "Thousands of Iranian nationals have documented entering the United States illegally and countless more are here, known or unknown, that cross the border without actually coming through a port of entry, or they were tailed after that. They come here illegally. They've gotten through our border checkpoint because we let them do it. Now, while there are no current actual intelligence, Commissioner Rodney Scott of CBP says the need for vigilance has never been higher. Though we have not received any specific credible threats, the threat of sleeper cells are there. Their sympathizers are also there, acting on their own, or at least at the behest of Iran. The threat has never been higher. U.S. President Donald Trump said on social media that Israel and Iran have agreed to a complete and total ceasefire to be phased in over 24 hours. That was yesterday. Trump said on Truth Social that the ceasefire would bring an official end to the war, the 12-day war between Iran and Israel, a major change in the hostilities that follows the U.S. strike over this past weekend on 3 Iranian nuclear sites. Now, Iran doesn't agree, and many of our own officials here in the United States do not agree, that Iran is defenseless. Some officials, including our own politicians, believe that Iran is still able to manufacture nuclear material. But new information has come forth from battle damage assessments. Satellite battle damage assessments saying, and I've seen some of the BDA assessments from satellite photography. It's on Maxar on the internet. They're a company out of Colorado that monitors satellite activity for the United States military. The satellite images show massive damage at Esfahani, over at Nunaats, and at Fordow, F-O-R-D-O-W. Isfahan, Fordow, and Nunaats were located on top and underneath the mountain, a heavily fortified facility. During this past weekend, our B-2 bombers leveled those 3 nuclear sites. I've seen the damage assessments. Regardless of what our United States political people are saying, the United States disabled those facilities. Now, does anybody have any questions about this that I've said? I want to make sure we get all the questions answered. Yes, I'm going to be talking in a few minutes about earthquakes. Hang in here with me, please. Does anybody have any questions for me? Like I said, I want to make sure we have all the questions answered so there is no discouragement or misunderstanding. Cassandra, I'm still here. As far as I know, I'm still here on the air. Thanks, Damon Catman. I appreciate that. Hurricane Heather is asking, can I turn up the volume? Hurricane Heather, are you having a problem with our volume here while we're talking, or is it overall volume itself? I'm going to try to increase the volume right now. Is this better here? I'm trying to make sure you can hear us. Is this any better? Clark and Peggy says 5x5 here. Aubrey says also 5x5. I increased the volume some so you can hear me. I hope you can. I hope you can. Now, I also want to talk to you about something else that's happened. Okay? It's happened during this past week. Now, it's in regards to ICE. Okay? The United States Supreme Court has given President Trump the ability to continue to arrest illegal aliens, to continue to arrest gangbangers and terrorists out of this country and transport them back where they came from. It was on a 6-9 or 6-3 vote. 6-3 vote, the U.S. Supreme Court continues to support President Trump, ridding our nation of these terrorists. It's ongoing. What I'm showing you here in this picture is evidence that we've gone even further. This location in Florida is called Alligator Alcatraz. Alligator Alcatraz. This is in southern Florida in the Everglades. This is a new immigration detention facility that's going up in the middle of gators and snake-infested glades. The U.S. Supreme Court ruled yesterday that the President Trump administration can restart deportation of illegal aliens to countries not their own. While this decision will speed up mass deportation process, there remains a need for detention facilities. To help satisfy that need, Florida Governor Ron DeSantis has tasked state Florida leaders with identifying places for a new facility. Florida Attorney General James Uthmeier evidently had a great spot in mind. Last week, Uthmeier made a public pitch in favor of Alligator Alcatraz. It's an old-fashioned, virtually abandoned air facility in the Everglades. This could serve as a one-stop shop to carry out President Trump's mass deportation agenda. The state attorney general noted that the 39 square mile area, which is completely surrounded by the Everglades, presents an efficient and low-cost opportunity to build a temporary detention facility because you don't need to invest that much in the perimeter. People get out, there's not much waiting for them on the other side except alligators and pythons. Nowhere to go, nowhere to hide. Uthmeier confirmed yesterday that Alligator Alcatraz is a go. The Department of Homeland Security told the Blaze News that the Florida Division of Emergency Management will build a facility on this location in the Everglades. It will house a 5,000-bed facility for illegal aliens. The Florida law enforcement officers who capture under the Immigration and Naturalization Act can dump their detainees off at Alligator Alcatraz. ICE will similarly be able to transfer aliens to the Florida facility under Article 287G authority. The Department of Homeland Security anticipates that this facility will be functional in a matter of days, initially with 500 to 1,000 beds, but ultimately upwards of 5,000 beds by early July, following expansions in several 500-bed increments. Authorities might ultimately build a hardened structure on the site, but for the time being, Alligator Alcatraz will largely be a tented destination. While illegal aliens sweated out in the soft-sided structures, the Florida Division of Emergency Management workers will be housed in old federal emergency management trailers that apparently will have been renovated. Under President Trump's leadership, we are working at turbo speed on cost-effective and innovative ways to deliver on the American people's mandate for mass deportations of criminal illegal aliens. We will expand facilities and bed space in just days, thanks to our partnership with Florida. The new facilities will be part funded by FEMA's Shelter and Service Program, which the Biden administration used as a piggy bank to spend hundreds of millions of American taxpayer dollars to house illegal aliens, including at the Roosevelt Hotel that served as a Tren de Aragua base of operations that used to shelter Lincoln Riley's killer. According to the Department of Homeland Security, the approximate cost of the running the facility will be about 245 days per bed per day, at an annual cost of $450 million. Again, this will be paid for through old FEMA funds that, again, President Biden and his cronies misappropriated and allowed illegal aliens to spend in plush hotels in New York and Chicago. Florida will initially fund this bill, but later receive reimbursement from FEMA, which is roughly $625 million in shelter and services program funds that is available for this effort. Homeland Security Secretary Noem is part of this process. Let me bring her picture up here. She's part of this process. Secretary Noem addressed this as well. She said she is proud to support President Trump in their mission to fix our illegal immigration problem once and for all. Alligator, Alcatraz, and other Florida facilities will do just that. Hundreds of protesters have traveled to the site of the future detention facility on Sunday to protest its construction. Their concerns largely appear to be tied up with the potential environmental impact of the facility on supposedly sacred land. Illegal immigrant advocates have similarly criticized the proposed facility, albeit for different reasons. For instance, Mark Fleming, who is Associate Director of Federal Litigation at the National Immigrant Justice Center, said this, quote, "The fact that this administration and its allies would even consider such a huge temporary facility on such a short timeline, with obviously no plan to adequately staff medical and other necessary services in the middle of the Florida summer heat, that's demonstrative of their callousness and disregard for health and safety of the human beings they intend to imprison there. We have a very important holiday coming up. You and I here in the United States and United States possessions worldwide have a very important holiday coming up. It's called July 4th. We celebrate it as our Independence Day. Now, I'm urging each and every one of you within the sound of my voice. This is important. This may be the most important part of our conversation tonight. I'm asking all of you, and I urge you all, to be very conscious of everyone and everything going on around you during the July 4th weekend. And even now, we've already been told by the No Kings protest people that they're going to be out highly protesting out on the streets of our cities and towns. If you go out into your community, I would caution you to be very observant. If you see anything that could be construed to be bad, leave that area immediately. It's not worth your life or the life of your dearest friends and family members to hang around and wait until things get really bad and out of control. I want you to be very cautious. I want you to be very cautious of what you're doing. You need to take measures appropriate to defend yourselves. I'm not asking people to carry nugs. That's not what I'm doing. But I'm asking each one of you to be able to protect yourselves and defend yourselves. It's proven during the past 3 weeks that these rioters, these protesters, are out of control. They've been hired by Little Miss Walton of Walmart fame. and George Soros and Mr. Cillian. I think his name's Cillian. We have his picture on our database here. But all three of those people are paying for rocks, bottles, bricks to be placed in the protest areas. So these hired protesters are being bussed in from outlying towns and cities to protest on your streets. They will be well armed. They will be well armed. Again, they've been protesting for weeks now, and things are going to get worse during the July 4th holiday. I'm asking you to be conscious of it. I don't want any of you to get hurt. I don't want anybody to get hurt at all. But I'm afraid what's going to happen is out of our control. They're planning this protest again. This time they say they mean business. Okay? James says he's going to stay home on July 4th. My wife and I may go over to a fireworks demonstration later that evening. But before that, we're staying home as well. And I believe you me when I say this. We will be in an area that a lot of people aren't going to be at to watch fireworks. However, if there's something happens, we're going to leave. I want you to be very clear that your safety is paramount. Shirley is saying they have a barbecue and games at home. Beer for men. Beer for me, she says. No need to establish home and safety. But God gave us each other, and these are valuable times. Love your family, love your children, and be blessed. I agree. I'm just trying to give you the information I know about. And as we get closer during the next 2 weeks, I'll be passing on more and more information that I glean from watch lists and also from the media and the government. I have access to that. I have legitimate access for that. I'll be passing on to you so that you might be safer. But I want to make sure everybody knows what's going on. Hurricane Heather says they're throwing a barbecue for their apartment complex. That's great. Just be safe. You never know what's happened outside the complex that could come in and harm all of you. Please be safe. Canadian Patriot was here in the chat. I appreciate Dave being here. He's also saying watch and report anything suspicious. I couldn't more agree. I couldn't more agree. Now, before I go into anything else, let's go and talk about earthquakes worldwide, and then we will talk about earthquakes in Southern California. I want to show you this. I'm going to take down our webcam. I'm going to take down our banner here. And I want to show you these earthquakes worldwide first. Then we'll concentrate on Southern California. I've been telling you for a long time now that there are a lot of earthquakes in Southern California. I'm going to show you some of those tonight. Okay? Let's back out of Southern California here. Let's go worldwide now. Okay? Up here in Alaska, pretty much normal, except for these earthquakes in northwestern Alaska here. Okay, this is the 2.5 in Noatak, Alaska. Noatak, Alaska. The 2.5 minor earthquake here. Over here in the water, 2.8 here. 2.8 here near Kotsu, Alaska. I know I'm butchering that name. Kotzebue. Kotzebue, Alaska. Another 2.8. You also see a lot of other earthquakes here in South Central Alaska. Earthquakes north of Denali here. This is a 4.0 magnitude earthquake. It's a moderate earthquake north of Denali National Park here. North of Denali. And if you go over to the USGS map, be advised, USGS is saying that this is south of Denali. It's not. Again, the United States Geological Survey does not give out exact locations. And in fact, they lie about it. As you can see, this is north of Denali National Park. They say this is 31 kilometers south of Denali National Park. Obviously, that's a lie. We have earthquakes here, 4.0 earthquake. And we also have this earthquake here. This is a 1.4 tremor. Now, what they're not showing you is there are also other earthquakes here. For example, like this. This is a 1.0 tremor here. This is a 1.0 tremor here. Okay? 4.0 earthquakes can have aftershocks. And I do not believe that the USGS is showing us exact information. I think they're lying about what they're showing us. They always do. They always do that. They lie about everything. There's one earthquake here southeast of Mount McKinley. This is a 2.0 earthquake here in Denali National Park. Again, USGS is saying this is 39 kilometers northwest of Petersville, Alaska. They do not want to even show you earthquakes in Denali National Park. They put them here and then they say they're somewhere else. That's what USGS does best, is lie to the public. Completely lie to the public. I'm going to go south here. We have no new earthquakes near volcanoes in Alaska proper, in south central Alaska. Yes, there are tremors. Yes, there are minor earthquakes for the south here. But there's nothing really to fret about for very large populated areas. Nothing at all. Yet. I'm going to preface that by saying yet. Things can drastically change very fast, especially in Alaska. Especially in Alaska. I want to drop down here to Japan. This is by far not an accurate not an accurate portrayal of Alaska or earthquakes here in Japan. This is south of Japan. This is a 4.5 earthquake. This is obviously an earthquake here. Laura Marie just joined us here. Laura Marie and her husband live in Oregon. We appreciate you being here, Laura Marie. Thank you very much. God bless you, folks. We love you a lot, a ton. Laura and I go way back, way, way back, further back than I want to even admit to it. Now, I'm going over here on the EMSC map here. And yes, there were some earthquakes here in Japan earlier, and there still are. Again, the USGS does not want you to see this information. A ton of earthquakes down south of Japan. A ton of earthquakes south of Japan here. Right here. This is by far not the only earthquake here. Let me lengthen out this earthquake here. This is a large 5.3 earthquake. A large 5.3 earthquake. But again, they are not being honest with all the earthquakes that are there. Let me show you something else. Okay, I'm going to bring up our webcam here. Look at this. There are actually 50 plus earthquakes here. 50 plus earthquakes south of Japan. Not just one 5.3 and a moderate 4. 50 plus earthquakes here. There's a swarm of them. There's a huge swarm of them. These earthquakes here are on the edge of the plate, as you can see. They're on the edge of the plate here. That's why those earthquakes are occurring. This seismic energy comes directly out of Taiwan, and before that, the Philippines and Indonesia. Okay? These earthquakes exist because they are. They are here. Okay? This area is locked up. This area is locked up with seismic energy. I fully expect this to continue for some time. We started seeing this 3 days ago, and it's continuing now. 50 plus earthquakes south of Japan there, and one other earthquake over in Japan itself. Let me back this out. Let's go back here to Japanese proper. They're not showing this. My question is why? Why are they not showing this? Let's go over here to Kahoma Tochigi. Right here. This is a 2.6 earthquake here. A 2.6 earthquake. And guys, yes, this is a minor earthquake. Very minor earthquake. Probably nobody felt it. Nobody felt it. This area you see here on the USGS map and our device map here. This is a heavily populated area. This earthquake is just outside the heavily populated area. But again, it's a minor earthquake and probably nobody felt it. It's a very small minor earthquake. But I want to show you what's going on. Okay? Let's back out of Japan now. Now I want to go further south here. Now we're over near the Philippine Islands. Out here to the northeast of Mindanao, Philippines. Mindanao, Philippines, where you see Davao City here. Davao City is the capital of this island here. Mindanao, Philippines is the largest island of the Philippines. Out here off the coast of Mindanao, Philippines, we have a very strong earthquake. A 6.2 very strong earthquake here. 6.0, 6.9 is considered to be very strong earthquakes. Now, I believe this was a lot stronger than that. I believe this was actually a 6.5 earthquake. From all the information I have, I believe it is a 6.5 earthquake. Now, it's off in the Pacific Ocean. It's off in the Pacific Ocean, and I do not believe that anybody even felt that earthquake because the ocean waters here absorbed the shock waves of this earthquake. If anything, they may have felt some tiny shaking over on Mindanao, Philippines. It's out far enough in the ocean. This is east of the Philippine Islands. Okay? Further south. Well, actually, not that. Just hold on a second. Look at all these other earthquakes around there. The USGS is not even showing us all the earthquakes at all. They never do. Over off the coast of Mindanao, Philippines to the north. Okay, just barely off the coast of Mindanao, Philippines. They're not showing this, are they? This is a 4.3 earthquake. 4.3 earthquake. Directly south of there on Mindanao, Philippines island itself. This is a 3.0 small earthquake. Both of these earthquakes can be felt. Both of these earthquakes can be felt here. They were on the island. Let's go further south. Now we are in Indonesia. Actually, before that. Let's go south and east. This is 96 miles east of Terrorism, Philippines. This is a 3.2 earthquake here. Further out here to the east, way offshore, is another 3.4. Again, these earthquakes are in the ocean and nobody felt them. They're out in the ocean and nobody felt them. But they're not the only earthquakes here. Let's go over to the southwestern Philippine island of Mindanao, Philippines. This is a 3.1 earthquake here. Again, USGS is not showing any earthquakes, are they? Not at all. They think it's okay. I want to go over to Cebu City here. Cebu City here. Off the coast of the Philippines. 47 miles east of Guiuan, Guiuan, Guiuan. This is a 3.2 earthquake. 3.2 earthquake. Over on Guiuan, this is 3.0 small earthquake. West of Tunga, Philippines. It's there. It's there, guys. Small earthquakes can be felt. 3.0 can be felt like a rumbling beneath your feet. Okay? But again, USGS doesn't believe in telling people. They want to keep things hidden. I don't believe in that. I will never believe in that. Now, there is a small island just south of this other island here in the Philippines. This small island south of Manila here had an earthquake. This is a 4.0 earthquake here. That's a 4.0 earthquake here. Now, I don't remember the name of that island. My son served a mission for his church on this island. This is a 4.0 moderate earthquake, and this can be felt. Moderate earthquakes can be felt. Moderate earthquakes can knock pictures off walls. They can knock knickknacks off of shelves, knock books off of shelves. They can rattle plates and dishes in cupboards. If they rattles enough, those cups and dishes can fall off on the floor and break. Moderate earthquakes can do moderate damage. Moderate earthquakes can do moderate damage. Now I'm going to go south into Indonesia. Again, what is USGS showing and not showing here? They're actually not showing any earthquakes in Indonesia at all. That's a fallacy. That's a fallacy. I want to show you this. I just backed out on my other device here to show you all the earthquakes. There are 30 plus earthquakes here in Indonesia. 30 plus. Yes, there are some 4s here. There are some 3s. And yes, there are even some 2.0 to 2.9 minor earthquakes. There are no tremors here. There are no tremors. These are all minor, small, and moderate earthquakes. Minor, small, and moderate earthquakes here. I want to make that clear. Okay? USGS can hide things. They can disguise things. They can lie through their teeth. That's what they do best. Down here east of Java, this is a 3.1 earthquake. There are other earthquakes here as well. On the island next to this, going west. On the island west of this, we have a 2.8. Out west of there in the ocean, like right there, that's a 2.7. Going north, also near there is a 3.0. In the water, nobody's going to feel it because the ocean water absorbs the shockwaves of the quake. North of these islands here is a 2.5 and also another 3.0. This is what they call the Banda Sea. The Banda Sea here. But again, USGS is not showing anything there. What a joke. What a joke. Over south of Java here, south of Western Java, this is a 3.3 earthquake. 3.3 small earthquake. Going over to Sumatra, Indonesia, we have a 3.0 and a 3.4 here. Yes, I understand a lot of you don't live here, but I want to show you what's going on. Because again, the USGS doesn't even give a darn. Let the people die. I think their basic philosophy is let those people die. They don't care. Off the coast south of Sumatra, here in the Indian Ocean, this is a small 3.7 earthquake. Also closer to north central Sumatra, this is a 3.4 earthquake here. Northern Sumatra here had a 3.2 earthquake here. 3.2 earthquake here in northern Sumatra. Now, USGS is also not showing you this. They're showing us large swarm of earthquakes here, but they're not showing you everything going on. They're showing just a handful of earthquakes. This is a 5.0. This is a 4.5. This is a 5.0. This is a 4.6 for the south. This is a 4.6, and this is another 4.6. These are in the Blair Islands of Nicobar Islands here. Guess what? Again, they're not being honest with us. There are 20 plus earthquakes there. Closer to 26 earthquakes here. And what are they showing? 7 earthquakes. There are 26 earthquakes here. They're not showing them. Inquiring minds want to know why. Now, let's go north. I love showing you what's going on. A while back, just about 2 months ago, we had a major earthquake here in Myanmar, or what they call Burma here. Burma's on the map. They now call it Myanmar. It was a 8.4 earthquake. They had it downgraded to 7.6. We're still seeing earthquakes here, aftershocks of that earthquake. 3.0, 3.5. South there, 2.4 minor, another 2.1 minor earthquake there. South of there, another 1.9 tremor here. South Myanmar. Aftershocks of that 8.4 earthquake here 2 months ago. Yes, they still have 5.0s here as well as 3s and 4s here in Myanmar. Over in the northern India area here. I want to go up here to northern India here. Right in this area right here. We have a 3.7 earthquake here. Why? All that seismic energy locked up in Myanmar still. It's radiating north along that same fault line. That's why we have this earthquake here. Okay? It's near Anunyate, A-U-N-I-A-T-I, Jula, India. Jula, India right there. Northern India. This is just south of the Himalaya Mountains. The Himalaya Mountains here are what they call part of the craton, the edge of the craton, the edge of the tectonic plate here, the edge of the tectonic plate. That's why the seismic energy came out of Indonesia, up here to Myanmar, and all the way up here to the Himalaya Mountains. That's why we have this earthquake here, a 3.7 small earthquake here in northern India here. Let's go further east, or what I should say east. Let's go further west here. I want to show you this. This is wild. Over near Tehran. Over near Tehran, Iran. This is a 4.5 moderate earthquake here. Why is that important? Because, folks, guess what we have here? This is where Israel came to bomb this morning. This is where Israel came to bomb this morning. Israel tapped out again part of Iran's nuclear weapons facilities. A 4.5 earthquake here. A 4.5 earthquake here. They're not showing any other earthquakes, are they? Because the USGS doesn't want anybody to see it. The USGS doesn't want anybody to see it. But something else. Over here near Afghanistan, Tajikistan, and Kazakhstan. What's here? Remember the Himalaya Mountains here? On the northwest side of the Himalaya Mountains, we have Afghanistan, Tajikistan, and Kyrgyzstan. Swarm of earthquakes. Swarm of earthquakes. Why? Again, this seismic energy came out of Myanmar, came over through the Himalaya Mountains. It dropped one earthquake over here in northeastern India here, and the rest of the earthquakes are over here on the western side of the craton. The western side of the craton. Let's take a look at some of these earthquakes from south to north. 3.8. 3.8, 3.0, 3.9 are considered to be small earthquakes. Another 3.8 right there. Going further north. Another 3.8, a 3.7, a 3.0, a 3.7, another 3.2, and last but not last, there's two more earthquakes here, a 3.9, 4.0, and another 3.8. So we have a bunch of threes except for one 4.0. This again is over here on the continuing edge of the plate, the tectonic plate here. That's why we have earthquakes here. USGS not showing those. Why not? 9 earthquakes there. 9 earthquakes there. They're not showing it. They never do. They never do. Rarely do they ever show exactly what's going on. Let's continue over here to the west. Okay? Southern Iran. This is a 3.1 earthquake here. Southern Iran. Go over to northern Iran. This is a 4.58 earthquake. 4.58 earthquake here. USGS has it listed as a 4.5, almost a 5.0. Almost a 5.0 here. Interesting. Now I want to go over here, and I think it's important, or I would not even bring it up. USGS has this earthquake over here in eastern Turkey, and that's fine. But what they're not telling us is there are a slew of earthquakes here. By slew, I'm talking 50 earthquakes. 50 earthquakes in this region. Why? Folks, right here at the border of eastern Turkey and Syria here, 2 years ago, February 3rd, 2 years ago, February 3rd, almost 2.5 years, we had a 9.0, 10.0 earthquake here. A 9 to 10.0 earthquake here. 5,000 people injured, over 5,000 people killed as a result of that earthquake. A great big huge fissure opened up here in eastern Turkey as a result of that earthquake. Huge 14-mile long fissure. The depth of that fissure was as deep as an 8-story building. As deep as an 8-story building. Guys, all these earthquakes here, over 50 earthquakes, they're not showing us here. Why not? Why not? They're only showing a 4.5. Aftershocks, guys, All of these earthquakes here in the Turkey-Syria border region are aftershocks of that 9.0, 10.0 earthquake here 2 years ago. That area is still getting hammered. That area is still getting hammered. Over in southern Turkey, we're still seeing earthquakes there. 2.5 to 3.4 earthquakes there in southern Turkey. Northern Turkey is a different story. 2.2, 1.8, 2.2, 1.8 right there. Central Turkey, this is a 0.8 microquake. Going west, guys. Look at all the earthquakes here. Most of these earthquakes are minor 2.0 to 2.9. 2.0 to 2.9 here in western Turkey. Going over to northern Turkey here, 2.5, 2.2, 1.0, and 1.2. We have a bunch of 2s and a couple 1s. Northern Turkey here. Let's go over here into the Aegean Sea here. I keep talking about the Aegean Sea for a reason. For a very good reason. USGS is not showing any of those earthquakes over here in western Turkey. They're certainly not showing much of anything except this over here on the southeast side of Crete. This is a moderate 4.3 earthquake. What's just below it? That same earthquake fault. That same earthquake fault, the Anatolian fault, coming out of the Turkey border region, Syria. The same earthquake fault that resulted in that 9.0, 10.0 earthquake here 2 years ago. And right here we have a 4.3 earthquake just southeast of Crete, Greece. But what they're not showing you are earthquakes over here in Greece. All these islands here are called the Dokanese Islands. These Dokanese Islands belong to Greece, but they're not showing you the earthquakes here. Why not? Earthquakes here in the Aegean Sea here are caused by magma down beneath the surface. Magma down in the crust of the earth below the sea. This is a 2.7 earthquake here. 2.7 earthquake here. Let's go north. 3 earthquakes here, a 1.9, a 2.0, and another 1.8. 1.9, 1.8, and a 2.0 here. Because magma is trying to force its way through the crust. The magma is hitting bedrock. The magma is hitting the bedrock in the crust. It's hitting it and fracturing the rock in the process. It's coming in those magma channels beneath the sea here. The magma channels in the crust of the earth, fracturing the rock, causing earthquakes. That's what happens here. It's pounding away here, trying to erupt. Trying to erupt. What happened here? What happened further south? Right here. See that island that looks like a backwards C? Backwards letter C here? Guess what? That's where earthquakes started. That's where earthquakes started. And the officials of the USGS were telling the Greek authorities, oh, it's only earthquakes here caused by 2 earthquake faults here underneath the Aegean Sea. But USGS lied to the Greek authorities. As more information came forward, as more information and science activity was conducted, it was found that these earthquakes were caused by magma beneath the surface, volcanic issues. Volcanic issues. Unreal. Unreal. These islands here belong to Greece. We're getting earthquakes here for a reason. A very good reason. Over in mainland Greece, over here in mainland Greece, they're not showing any earthquakes at all. That's a fallacy as well. They lie, they cheat, they steal not to show information. Right now, there are about 40 earthquakes here in Greece. 40 earthquakes here in Greece. A lot of these are 2.0s, 1.8s, 1.5s, and 1.0s. Tremors. Most of these are tremors. Up to the north, this is a 1.9. Just north of there are two earthquakes again. A 1.9 and a 1.3. Just to give you an idea. But further south around Athens, here's a 1.7. As I said, most of them are minor earthquakes and tremors here. This is a 1.7 tremor over in Athens. West of Athens, this is a 1.9 2.0. 1.9 2.0 minor earthquake. Okay? South of there, we have a 2.8. 2.8 earthquake. Okay? We go north. Corinthos, where the Corinthians are in the Bible. 1.2 earthquake here, a tremor. A tremor. Now I want to take you over here to the Aegean Sea here near Patras, Greece. Patras, a city named after the Apostle Peter, right over here. Earthquakes here, all over. 0.5 microquake, 0.4, 0.5, 0.6, and a 1.8. 1.8 here. Going to the west side of Patras, we have a 1.0, a 0.8, and a 1.0 there too. Two 1.0s and a 0.8 near Patras, Greece. North of there, we have a series of earthquakes here. We have a 0.9, a 0.8, we have a 1.6, and a 2.7 there. Tremors and minor earthquakes. Tremors and minor earthquakes going north. 1.5 and 1.6 here. Let me widen out the map here so you can see what I'm seeing. Okay? Now over here, and I think this is somewhat important, right here in this region right there. This is a 1.5 tremor. Notice again the topography there, the mountainous region. That's why we're having all these earthquakes. Again, we're following the craton. We're following the craton. Look carefully at the digital images here. The edge of the plate here. Northern Greece. That's why we have all the earthquakes there. Then remember me saying that that earthquake fault that comes out of Turkey-Syria border region, Anatolian Fault. It runs south here into the Mediterranean Sea, just south of Cyprus. It continues eastbound or westbound, going south of Crete, Greece. It runs further west over here to the western shores of Greece here. Then it runs toward Italy there. Fabulous. Fabulous. Okay? You can see it here going into Italy here. Okay? In the Ionian Sea here. Guess what? Southern Italy. 0.9 and a 1.0 here in southern Italy right there. Over in Sicily here. Northern Sicily right there. Two earthquakes here. A 1.2 and a 1.6 tremor there. Now, they're not saying anything here, either on the European agency or either the USPS. Over here, in the islands over here of Italy, what are we seeing? Volcanoes, huh? We have two erupting volcanoes, Stromboli and Mount Etna. Stromboli and Mount Etna are erupting, but they're not showing any earthquakes here. Stromboli and Mount Etna on these islands are still erupting. Still. Now, I want to take you over to something else that I think is important, or I wouldn't be here to talk about it. Right here. What do we have here, guys? What do we have here? Mount Vesuvius, guess what? USGS has this volcano steaming. Look at that. Vesuvius is steaming. Yes, we have earthquakes here. We have earthquakes here. And this is a huge urban population around Mount Vesuvius. Huge urban population. It's a great big, huge, long duration city here throughout this area. We have earthquakes. We have some earthquakes here. 3 earthquakes here that USGS is not even showing you. Go figure. They don't want anybody to know exactly what's going on. Right here. And yes, there are other tremors as well that even the EMSC, the European agency, is not talking about. We have here a 1.5 tremor, another 1.5 tremor, and also a 1.8 right there. Tremors, guys. Tremors. Look at these other volcanoes here. Look at these other craters. Side-by-side craters there. Look at this big crater here. Look at these other craters around the cities here. Every one of these craters are part of Mount Vesuvius volcano. They're here because they once erupted. They once erupted. Again, Mount Vesuvius is going to erupt again soon. Mount Vesuvius is going to erupt again soon. Right there. No, they're not showing us any earthquakes around Mount Vesuvius, but there are earthquakes here. I wanted to bring you to that attention. Because if you go over to the Italian seismic energy, they will show you tremors all over this area. They will show you minor earthquakes as well. They're happening. They're happening, guys. The USGS will never show it to you. I don't believe the USGS will ever show it. In north central Italy, we're continuing to see earthquakes here. Only the only the European agency is showing you these earthquakes. These are mostly minor tremors and minor earthquakes. Minor tremors 1.0 to 1.9 and 2.0 to 2.5. North central Italy. Why are they happening? Because when we have a series of tremors like this has been going on for months now. When we have a swarm of earthquakes like this going on for a very long time, usually means it is swarming to build up to a large earthquake, to build up to at least a 5.0 earthquake. That's what happened a year ago. We had earthquake swarms like this, and then all of a sudden it opened up to a 5.1 earthquake here. We fully expect that to happen again. We fully expect that to happen again. Earthquakes throughout this region here. But again, the USGS doesn't want us to know about it. We're not good enough to see it. We're not good enough to see it. Why? They're not showing us any earthquakes here in the southern Alps Mountains. They're not showing us anything. Over here to the northeast, we have a 2.0 earthquake. 2.0 earthquake here. And east of there, this is Slovenia, a 1.7 tremor there. Further to the northeast, this is Hungary, This is a 2.5 minor earthquake there. Not to be outdone, guess what? Further to the south, Croatia, a 1.6 tremor. 1.6 tremor, but not to be outdone at all. Poland, a 3.1 earthquake. 3.1 earthquake in Poland. Fascinating, huh? The Czech Republic, we have a 1.7 tremor there. Notice where all these earthquakes are. I'd ask you to notice where all these earthquakes are. Why? These are the edge of the plate. The Alps Mountains are the edge of the plate here. Tectonic plate here in Europe. You can see the plate here running from western France all the way down here through Austria, going down here through Hungary and Croatia, all the way down here from around Sarajevo, all the way through here in Greece, all the way through Greece to over here, Turkey, Western Turkey here, over here near the Black Sea, and all the way over here to Iran, south of the Caspian Sea here. Again, the craton goes all the way over here to where we have this earthquake here in northern Iran. Then you see the craton go through here, all the way down here to Afghanistan and connects with the Himalaya Mountains. The edge of the plate, the craton edge. The craton edge of the plate, guys. The tectonic plate. But of course, USBS doesn't want anybody to know what's going on, do they? Not a thing. Heaven forbid they show us what's happening. Heaven forbid they show us what's happening. On the north side of the not the Himalayas, on the north side of the Alps Mountains. Let's take a look at what's happening on the north side of the Alps. Right in this area right here. Switzerland, 0.2 microquake. Southwest of there, we have a 1.2 tremor, a 0.6, 1.2 and a 0.6 there. Further west, we have a 0.8 microquake there. Down here on the southern western side of the Alps Mountains and here in Italy, Piedmont, Italy, we have a 1.0 tremor there. Then we go back up here to Switzerland and Germany. These earthquakes I'm going to show you now are in Switzerland. We have a 1.0 and a 1.2 tremor here in Switzerland. Switzerland, guys. But heaven forbid they show you what's going on. Usually we have earthquakes here in France and they're not showing any earthquakes at all. Either the European agency or even the US agency. They're not showing us any earthquakes here in France at all. Going down here to the border region of Spain and France, you always have at least 2 earthquakes. Yes, that's what's happening today. Here is the border region of Spain and France. We have a 2.1 minor earthquake there. And also here, we have a 2.0 here. Spain-France border region. 2 minor earthquakes there. Southern Spain, we have a 3.1 small earthquake and a 1.9 tremor. Okay? That 1.9 there, and just north of there, a 3.1 small earthquake. Let's go over to northern Portugal. Braga, Portugal. We have a 2.0 earthquake, minor earthquake. Over in southern Portugal, off the coast of southern Portugal, we have a 2.5. Yes, we have a series of earthquakes. This is a 2.5. South of there, We have another 2.0, a 1.7, and a 1.9 right there. Okay? I'm talking out here. They're not showing you anything here. Nothing. They're not showing these other small minor earthquakes and small earthquake here in southern Spain. They're not showing that earthquake up here in Braga, Portugal, right there. Braga, Portugal, guys, a 2.0 earthquake. Why not? It's my philosophy. I believe they should have shown it. They should have shown it. Now, what else is going on? South America, there are 42 earthquakes here in South America. Most earthquakes are down here, either in central Chile, up here in northern Chile, or here in Peru and Colombia. 40 earthquakes here. Why are they not showing those? Why? Inquiring minds want to know. Over here in Venezuela, west of Caracas, this is a 4.4 moderate earthquake there. Most of the earthquakes here in Western South America, there are 3.2s, 3.5s, and 4.5 earthquakes, all up and down from central Chile all the way up here to Colombia. Up here near Santander, Colombia, right here. Near Santander, Colombia, right here. We typically see 2.2, 2.3, and 2.5 earthquakes here. Now we have 3.0s. But again, USGS shows nothing, not a thing. Look at Central America. They're not showing anything here. Why not? Why are they not showing them? Guys, look here. There are approximately 15 earthquakes here in Central America. 15 earthquakes here. All over here in Panama. This is a moderate 4.28. 4.28 earthquake here. We go over to northern Panama. This is a 4.3 moderate earthquake here. Costa Rica. This is a 3.1 small earthquake. 3.1 small earthquake. Going north. Nicaragua. 2.28 earthquake here. Don't you think it's important to know what's going on in Central America? What happens in Central America also affects Mexico. Look at all these earthquakes in southern Mexico. All these earthquakes in southern Mexico, guys. There are approximately 40 earthquakes here in southern Mexico. 40 plus earthquakes here in southern Mexico. And USGS doesn't want to show them. They stretch from south of Puerto Vallarta, or not say Puerto Vallarta, I'm sorry, from yes, I'm sorry, it is Puerto Vallarta right there. From Puerto Vallarta south over here in southern Mexico here. All kinds of earthquakes, 40 plus earthquakes here. All over the place. This near the coast is a Riviera of Mexico. Okay? 3.5, 3.7, 3.1. I'm just picking earthquakes out. 3.5, 3.7, 3.1 small earthquakes. There are also 4s here as well. There's also 4s here. Let me find a 4 and show it to you. Here's a 4.1 here. There's a 4.1. There's 4s and 3s all over this area. Now we will get some 5s here again. When we have another 5.0 earthquake, it will be because we've had so many other earthquakes here. When we have swarms of earthquakes, again, what happens? We see a much larger earthquake. And that's exactly what's going to go on here. We have large swarms of earthquakes here. We're going to see another large earthquake hit here in southern Mexico. And after that, after we have an earthquake in southern Mexico, we'll go over into Southern California. It will happen in Southern California. Now again, on the San Andreas Fault in northern Mexico, this is the 3.9 earthquake here. 3.9 earthquake right there. 3.9, small, but it's a border region with a moderate earthquake. This is a 3.2 here. 3.2 south of the U.S.-Mexican border. Guadalupe, Victoria, Mexico. Guadalupe, Victoria, Mexico here. Okay? That's a 3.2 earthquake at the border. For the agencies not to show these earthquakes is a tantrum. They don't want to show us these earthquakes because there's over 500 earthquakes here in the Imperial Valley. The Imperial Valley, guys. The Imperial Valley. Let me show you something. Okay? 500 earthquakes. I'm going to show you right here, Holtville, California. I'm going to show you a seismogram here where we have a bunch of threes. Threes are small earthquakes. But we have minor earthquakes and we have a bunch of tremors. A ton of them. Holtville, California. We're here. I'm going to show you the Imperial Valley. Not just the Imperial Valley, but the town of Imperial here. And Imperial has several 3.0 small earthquakes. Up here in Calipatria, I'm going to show you a lot of earthquakes here as well. Now, the USGS has taken down the seismograph here at Westmoreland. I checked it earlier. We do not have a seismograph here in Westmoreland to report quakes there. But southwest of Imperial, the town of Imperial. Now I'm talking about this larger town right here called El Centro. Our family friend here in El Centro is named Juanito. Our EMA family friend is Juanito and his family live here in El Centro. I'm going to show you like 20 plus earthquakes, 20 plus 3.0 and large earthquakes here in El Centro. Unreal. Unreal. USGS not showing a thing. Not a darn thing. Why not? Why is USGS not reporting earthquakes here? I've told you that every day here in the Imperial Valley, we have 500 plus quakes. 500 plus quakes. I'm also going to show you a seismogram right here. Bombay Beach. We have 3.0, 3.5, 4.0 earthquakes here every day. Multiple earthquakes every day. USGS still is not showing everything. They never will. I'm going to show you the seismographs here. You're going to be astounded, blown away. There is activity here. There is a lot of activity. It's not all, though, related to the Salton Butte volcano. It's not all related to the Salton Butte volcano that's right here, in the southern part of the Salton Sea here. The Salton Butte volcano. Okay? It's not related to that. These earthquakes are seismic activity coming off the Pacific and headed east. Seismic activity here is related to the seismic activity coming off the Pacific Ocean coming over here. the Pacific Plate. The Pacific Plate. That is what's actually happening. Down here at the Mexican border, U.S.-Mexican border here, we have some earthquakes, don't we? This is a 1.4 tremor, and this is a 1.8. That's all the USPS wants us to see. They don't want us to see anything else. Out here in Ocotillo, this is a 0.8. North of there, this is a 1.2 Ocotillo Wells on the eastern side of the Chalco Mountains. This red earthquake here is Borrego Springs, the Anza Borrego Desert State Park of San Diego County, northeast San Diego County. That's happening here. This is Pine Valley, eastern San Diego County here. The 0.8 tremor here. This is Julian, 21 kilometers east of Julian. Almost 2 months ago, we had a 5.1 earthquake here, a large 5.1 earthquake here near Julian. Now we're having microquakes here. Further north here, yes, this is a San Jacinto Fault. This is just northeast of Julian here. The 0.6 microquake here. Going further north, Lake Henshaw, northeast of Escondido. Northeast of Escondido. Guess what, guys? This is a 1.7 tremor. 1.7 tremor. Now I want you to look at something here. Look where this is at. This is actually in Lake Henshaw. It's in Lake Henshaw here. 1.7 tremor. Further north here, Palomar Observatory. Palomar Observatory right here. This is a 0.6 microquake on the San Jacinto Fault at Palomar Observatory. There is another earthquake just north of there, right here, just to the northeast of there. This is a 0.5 microquake here. The San Jacinto Fault here. That's This is Anza Borrego Desert State Park, northeast San Diego County. Here we're seeing nothing but tremors and microquakes. Anza Borrego Desert State Park. Let's go over to Los Angeles. Over here in Los Angeles, Sherman Oaks. They're showing a 2.7 earthquake here, minor earthquake. North of there on the San Andreas Fault here. Vincent, California is a 1.1 tremor. Also here is a 1.2, Little Creek, California. Right here, this is Rancho Cucamonga, California. 1.1 tremor here. Southwest of there, Yorba Linda, California, where Richard Nixon was born. Former President Richard Nixon was born here in Yorba Linda. 1.8 tremor here. Yes, we have earthquakes here in LA, a lot of them. But again, they're not showing them. I'm going to show you where most of the earthquakes are here in LA. This is Home Gardens. Home Gardens, California. Let's look here. This is a 1.1 tremor here. Yes, this is a business area. These are not homes. This is a business community here. 1.1 tremor here in Home Gardens. They try all the time to try to make us think that we have quarry blasts here. Sorry, that doesn't happen that often. Orange County, near Lake Elsinore, California. This is a 1.2 tremor. This is a 1.0 tremor. Lake Elsinore. East, northeast of Lake Elsinore, we have a 1.3 tremor here. Orange County, California. Just north of San Diego County. Like I said, let's go here. I'm going to take off the USGS map, and I want to show you earthquakes in Southern California. I think it's going to be beneficial for everybody to understand what's going on in California. You need to know what's going on. Let's show you this. Okay? What is this, guys? This is Channel Island just off the coast of Los Angeles. The Channel Islands just off the coast of LA. What's going on here? Let's look at it. Up at the top on the black line, this is 5 a.m. in the morning. On the far left is 5 a.m. in the morning. This is approximately 5:02 a.m. We have a 2.0 earthquake. Look at the earthquakes here. Yes, we have a bunch of tremors. That's obvious. These small marks here on this seismogram are showing tremors. But I want to show you something else near the bottom here. Down here. Down here near the bottom. Look at this. It's blue. This blue line here is 1:30 on the left-hand side. It is now 1:38 in the afternoon today. Guess what? 2.93.0 earthquake here on the Channel Islands, off the coast of LA. We have seen these earthquakes here before. This time it's only one. Usually we've lately had 3.0 earthquakes here, usually at least 2 or 3. Today there is only one 3.0 small earthquake here. The Channel Islands here, off the coast of LA. Let's go over here and show you Chino, California on the east side of the LA area. Here we have tremors all over the place. Tremors all over the place. For counting purposes, these count as earthquakes. They're counting as earthquakes. On the left-hand side on the black line, that is a 2.0 earthquake here in Chino, California today. 2.0 here in Chino, California today. We used to get a lot of small minor earthquakes here. This is mostly tremors here in Chino, California. Let's continue moving. I want to go now out to the desert of LA, Orange County, the town of Hemet, California, on the San Jacinto Fault here. They didn't show anything on the USGS map here at Hemet. Guess what? This happens to be a seismograph located in Hemet, California at the San Jacinto campus. It's a small college campus here in Hemet, California. Look what we have here. We have a lot of tremors. Yes, we've had tremors here. We've had minor earthquakes before, and we've had small 3.0 plus earthquakes here. Today, it's nothing but tremors. Nothing but tremors here in Hemet. Let's continue. Let's go out to Victorville, California, where our friend Isaiah's granny lives. This is Victorville. Victorville is on the San Jacinto, or not the San Jacinto, I'm sorry, the San Andreas Fault. Victorville lies on the San Andreas, and here, we're not just seeing tremors, but we're also seeing a couple minor earthquakes. A couple of minor 2.0 earthquakes here. Victorville. Yes, Victorville also has a bunch of tremors here. All over here. They always do. Let's keep moving. Now I want to go out to the east side of Los Angeles area. This is Fontana, California. Look at this. USGS is not showing this activity at all. Look at this, guys. This is what we've been seeing in Fontana for a very long time. It's not every day we see 3.0 earthquakes here in Fontana, and a lot of them at that point. There are 45 to 50 3.0 earthquakes here in Fontana. 45 to 50 3.0 earthquakes here in Fontana. Look at that. These 3.0 earthquakes are felt earthquakes. How would you like to feel 3.0 earthquakes under your feet every other minute? That's basically what we have here, on an average of every other minute. Look at that. Yes, we also have minor earthquakes and we have tremors here. We have 40 to 50 3.0 earthquakes here. Fontana, California, guys. I kid you not. These are happening. They're happening. Let's go over to the big downtown building in Los Angeles at City Center, where the city council meets, where LAPD has its offices. Down in the basement of this building is the Emergency Operations Center. That's where the seismograph is. Again, all we're seeing here are minor tremors. Very, very minor tremors. They rarely ever show us anything else. Yes, occasionally it is something else, but they're only showing some minor tremors. And I want to state this for the record. I believe the USGS and the California Institute of Technology are hiding earthquakes. I believe the USGS and the California Institute of Technology are hiding earthquakes. I believe we're having more earthquakes here in downtown LA than they're showing us here. Guaranteed. Guaranteed. Why am I saying that? Wait till I show you what I have to show you now. I think this might blow your mind. Let's go over to Griffith Observatory. The Griffith Observatory in Los Angeles. Look here. They're hardly showing us anything going on. They're hardly showing us anything going on, but look at this 3.3 earthquake here. 3.3 earthquake here this afternoon. This happened here at approximately 12:21 p.m. this afternoon. 12:21, almost 12:22 this afternoon, we have a 3.3 earthquake here. Now, folks, let me tell you about 3.3 earthquakes, or 3.0, that usually are preceded by 1.0 tremors, 1.2 tremors, 1.3, 1.4, 2.0, 2.3, 2.4, 2.5, 2.7, 2.8, 2.9 earthquakes. This 3.3 did not appear on its own. This 3.3 earthquake did not appear on its own. They are lying through their teeth. They are hiding seismic energy here in Los Angeles. This is a Caltech seismograph. They're hiding information. I want to go over to the southern coast of Los Angeles, over to Laguna Niguel. Look at this seismograph here. Look at these tremors here. This is pretty much typical of what we see at Laguna, California. Tremors here along the southern coast of LA. Nothing but tremors. But I'm going to show you a lot more than that right now. Let's go over to Long Beach. Look at this. This is typically what we see in Long Beach, California every day. every day. Here we're seeing 2.0, 2.5, 2.7, 2.8, and even 3.0 earthquakes here. Now, while I cannot see any 3.0 small earthquakes here per se, a small earthquake could be buried in here in the color. It's hard to say. There are so many earthquakes here, so many earthquakes on the seismic. There could be at least one or two 3.0 small earthquakes. For the most part, these are all microquakes. I'm sorry, not microquakes. These are all minor earthquakes. All minor earthquakes, and yes, there are some tremors here. There are some tremors, but most of these are minor earthquakes. 2.0, 2.9. Long Beach, California. This seismogram exists every day. This happens every day just like this. Just like this. For those of you that have been with me for a long time, you've seen me point this out. You see me point this out. This should be nothing new for Long Beach at all. Happens every day. Let's continue moving here. I want to go over to the other side of Los Angeles, over to Mira Loma, just south of Loma Linda Medical Center. This is Mira Loma. Yes, we've had 3.0 earthquakes here in the past. Today, we are only seeing tremors and minor earthquakes. Tremors and possibly 2.0 earthquakes tops. Nothing larger than that. But this is still a large, wide array of seismic energy here. Mira Loma just south of Loma Linda. Okay, let's move on. I want to show you Moore Park just north of Los Angeles. This is pretty much a residential community with small businesses here, Moore Park, California. Yes, we've seen 3.0 earthquakes here before. Up at the top on that red line. Red line over on the left-hand side would be 5:15 in the morning. So this earthquake here is at 5:17 in the morning. 5:17 in the morning, we have at least two 3.0 earthquakes. Two 3.0 earthquakes here this morning. Moore Park, California. You're also seeing a bunch of tremors all over this. Then further down here on the seismogram, look on this red line here. This red line here on the far left is 1:15. Now we have come over here to 1:25 p.m. today. 1:25 p.m. today, we have a 3.3 earthquake here. A 3.3 earthquake here in Moore Park. They're not showing this earthquake on the map. That's because they cleanse the map. Sometimes USGS will show us 3.0 activity, but not very often anymore. Heaven forbid they be honest with us. They're certainly not honest with us at all. Not at all. Up here at the top, we have a 3.0 earthquake. The second red line here on the left-hand side, this will be 6:17, just like the one was 5:17. 6:17 this morning, that's also 3.0 earthquake there. Yes, there are minor earthquakes and tremors here on this seismogram. This is an awful lot of seismic activity here in Los Angeles area. This is for the most part a bedroom community. Yes, they have their share of restaurants, gas stations, and other businesses here in Moore Park. I'm not done. I'm not done. Let's go over to Part E. In the past here in Pardee, P-A-R-D-E-E, north of Los Angeles here. Here in Pardee, we've seen 3.0 earthquakes here as well. Now we are seeing mostly tremors and minor earthquakes here. Tremors and minor earthquakes. Down here in the bottom on this red line here, again, on the left-hand side, this would be 1:15. Over here, we have 1:22 p.m. This would be a 2.9 3.0 earthquake here. Pardee, California. Pardee, California. Let's move on. Let's go up to the north shore of Los Angeles. Playa del Rey, Marina del Rey. These are marinas where very rich people have boats and yachts. Playa del Rey, Marina del Rey. Look what we have here. Up at the top, we have nothing but tremors. Nothing but tremors. That changed after approximately 8:15. After 8:15, we had tremors and minor earthquakes. Tremors and minor earthquakes, and that turned into 3.0 earthquakes as well. There are several 3.0 earthquakes here. There are several 3.0 earthquakes here. Some of those earthquakes happened after 9:15 a.m. this morning on the red line here on the left-hand side. You see 9 a.m. here, 0900, 9 a.m. here, Pacific time. 3.0 earthquakes here happened over and over and over for almost 3 minutes tops. Almost 3 minutes. We had consistent 3.0 small activity. 3.0 small earthquake activity. Then we move over here to the line on the red side, just below 10 here. This time, the red line on the left-hand side is 10:15. We move over to the center right-hand side of this sidegram. This time, we are at 10:26 a.m. this morning. Another 3.03.3 earthquake here. 3.03.3. It's hard to say what it is because it's covered by color above it. We can see the bottom line near the bottom of it. We can't see the top. This is at least a 3.03.3 earthquake here. Unreal. Marina del Rey, Playa del Rey here. In the boat yacht area, boat yacht harbor area, the marina. Okay? Along the coastline. Go figure. North Los Angeles here, Rinaldi. Tremors here at Rinaldi. I don't see anything big here except here at after 12:15. This is 12:22 p.m. this afternoon. This is a 3.5 earthquake here. A 3.5 earthquake here at Rinaldi. You can see all the tremors all over the place here, all day long. Before that, at approximately 9:22 this morning, we had a 2.3 earthquake there. But most of this is all minor earthquakes and tremors. Okay, Holly, knock it off. That was our dog Holly here. Okay, that was Rinaldi. Let's go over to North Los Angeles to Rio Hondo. Look here. Rio Hondo's, there's nothing but tremors here. Nothing but tremors. We have had small earthquakes here before. But today here, Rio Hondo, or not Rio Hondo, yeah, Rio Hondo, I'm sorry. Rio Hondo here. Nothing but tremors here in North Los Angeles. Let me show you some more. Okay. Want to go over to Santiago Peak. In the center of the Los Angeles area is a mountainside. The mountainside houses, the entire mountainside houses the Griffith Observatory. It houses all kinds of radio and television antennas and equipment. Santiago Peak, right here. Look at this. Look at all the tremors here. Yes, we've had minor earthquakes here before. This is nothing but tremors here. Santiago Peak. Okay. I've been on the top of Santiago Peak. I was helping service radio repeaters for ham radios here. Helping service ham radio repeaters here on the top of the mountain. Let's go over to Anaheim. State Street in Anaheim. Look at this, guys. Usually you see more earthquakes here. We have a lot of tremors here in Anaheim, State Street. But you can also see some minor earthquakes here. Over on the right side on the black line here at the top. 5:01 a.m. we see a 2.3 earthquake. Over towards the right-hand side. At approximately 5:12 a.m. we had another 2.0 earthquake. 2.0 earthquake. Then approximately after, I'm sorry, this is not 5 a.m. here. This is 5 p.m. This is 5 p.m. yesterday afternoon. Down here on this black line, on the left-hand side, this would be 3 a.m. This is 3:13 a.m. here. This is another 2.5 earthquake. 2.5 earthquake at 3:13 a.m. here. Now there are a lot of tremors here, as you can see. A ton of tremors here. That's typically what we see here. But we also see 3.0 minor earthquakes as well. Today we only see minor earthquakes and tremors here. Minor earthquakes and tremors. Anaheim, California. For those of you that have been following me for a long time, you've seen small earthquakes here. We've shown you the small earthquakes, and in fact, the small earthquakes we've shown you have been followed by news reports of Disneyland and Knott's Berry Farm being shut down to check the rides because of the earthquakes, making sure the rides are still optimal to ride after a small earthquake here. We've seen it. It's going to happen again and again and again and again. Let's go over to University of California, Los Angeles, USC, LA. Nothing but tremors here. Nothing but tremors at USC. Okay? I'm now going to take you over to East Los Angeles. I want to take you over to Walnut, La Puente, LA. Look at this. This happens to be a volcano. This is a volcano caldera over in LA area. Look at these earthquakes here. These earthquakes here are generated by magma beneath the surface. Yet huge communities live here. Tens of thousands of citizens live here in this area. Yet look what we're seeing. We're seeing small earthquakes here for the most part. For the most part. But look closely at these earthquake sequences. What we're seeing here is the agency trying to hide the strength of the earthquakes. The top and the bottom of these earthquake sequences are cut off. They're cut off for a reason. So we don't know the exact magnitude of these earthquakes. These all are at least 3.0, 3.5, possibly 4.0 moderate earthquakes here in the Walnut, La Puente area. This kind of activity happens every day. This kind of activity happens every day. This is not strange activity. Tens of thousands of people live here. They feel these earthquakes. They feel these earthquakes. This is a volcanic caldera caused by the last eruption of this volcano, the hardening of the lava rock. That lava rock, by the way, is the top summit of the volcano, the very summit of the volcano. Look at these earthquakes. Every one of them are at least 3.0, 4.0 earthquakes. Look at that one near the bottom on the center side here. That is after 12 noon here. After 12 noon. It started at approximately 12:05 this afternoon. It lasted until well over 12:08. Lasted until after 12:08. 3 minutes of 3.0, 4.0 activity. We don't know how exactly strong this earthquake was, but they cut off the top and they cut off the bottom, so we don't see how strong it was. There was also another earthquake after that, after 1:45 on the green line on the bottom. 1:45 on the far left-hand side, and over here at approximately 1:49, we have a 2.7, 2.8 earthquake. It goes back down to tremors, and then less than 45 seconds later, all of a sudden we have 3.5, 4.0 earthquake happening here. This seismic energy lasted just over 2 minutes. Just over 2 minutes. How would you like to be over here in the La Puente Walnut area, feeling this seismic energy over your feet, underneath your feet? This happens every day, many times a day. Every day. Los Angeles, guys. LA. LA. I want to take you now over to the Salton Sea area. I told you the town of Imperial there, south of the Salton Sea, had earthquakes. Look at this. We have tremors there. Look at this sequence after 8:45 on the green line here. On the green line. That is a 3.0, 3.5 earthquake. It lasted 1, 2, 3, 4 minutes long. 4 minutes worth of shaking going on. It could have been as much as a 4.0 earthquake here in the town of Imperial in Imperial Valley. Yes, we have other earthquakes and tremors here, all over the place. At approximately 9:15 over on the left-hand side in the center. Look at this sequence here. Gets up from 2.0, 2.5, 2.6 earthquake here. Minor earthquakes for 2 minutes. Probably not going to feel them. That's what happened. Most of the rest of this is just tremors. Imperial Valley in the town of Imperial. I'm not done yet. I'm not done yet. Let's go out to the east to Calipatria, on the southeast side of the Salton Sea. Let me bring you down, let you see everything going on here. The top of this seismogram shows you activity after 3 p.m. yesterday afternoon. Look at these earthquakes. In the center top of this seismogram here, we have a fairly wide earthquake here. That's because it lasted over 30 seconds. Over 30 seconds. And the red was the computer generation. The black or dark blue area here is the exact determination of length of the shaking. Okay? They cut off the top and they cut off the bottom of this sequence. Right here, it looks to be a 2.5 earthquake. I believe this is probably a 3.0 earthquake. The earthquake here happened at approximately 3:52 p.m. yesterday afternoon. You see 3.0 activity here. Again, this time after 4:15. 16:15 here on the left-hand side is 4:15. So we come over 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 minutes later. It looks to be this to be a 2.5. I believe this is cut off at the top and the bottom. This is also a 3.0 earthquake. All the red lines you see here, all the red lines are computer generated to get the seismologist's attention to say, look at this. That's why the lines are red here. You can see 2.3, 2.4 earthquakes here as well. But look what happens after 9:15. 9:15, 10 p.m. last night. They basically shut off the seismograph. Shut down the seismograph. The seismograph is not recording any information after that. None. None. It shows some thicker lines here, and that's all. That's because they turned the seismograph back almost off. They turned it basically off after 10 o'clock last night. They did not turn it on again until after 4 a.m. this morning. So it was off for 6 hours. The seismograph was off for 6 hours. That's not normal. We've typically seen earthquakes here at Calipatria to be around 75 to 150 earthquakes every day. 75 to 50 earthquakes every day. After 3 o'clock this morning, 3:30 this morning, what do we see? Minor tremors, minor earthquakes, and then again after approximately 6:15 this morning, we have another 3.0 earthquake here. Another 3.0 earthquake after 6:15. At approximately 6:20 a.m. this morning, on this red earthquake, on the 6 o'clock line, the light blue line here, 6:15, 6:20 a.m. Another 3.0 earthquake. That earthquake lasts over a minute. It lasts just over a minute. 3.0 small earthquake there. Look at these other minor earthquakes here. Down at the bottom. Down at the bottom after 2:15 on the left-hand side. 14:15 is 2:15 on the left-hand side. At 4:17, looks to be another 2.5 earthquake. But again, they cut off at the top and cut off at the bottom. It's probably a 3.0. The one right next to it again. The one above it on the line above it to the right, probably a 2.7, 2.8. Again, they cut off the top and the bottom. Every time they cut off the top and the bottom of the earthquake sequence, we know it was a strong earthquake. We don't know how strong, but it was just as strong or larger. Over on the far right-hand side. Again, this earthquake happened after 4:15. Over here on this side, this is 4:24 a.m. Again, the length of time this earthquake hit was approximately 30 seconds. They caught off the bottom and the top of this seismic signal. This appears to be at least a 3.0 earthquake, as well as the earthquake above it. As well as the earthquake above it. As I said, typically, Calipatria would be seen as having 75 to 150 earthquakes here a day. 75 to 150 earthquakes here a day. Right now, today, just this seismograph alone that covers the area from 3 p.m. on until 3 p.m. this afternoon. We might have 70 to 75 earthquakes here. 70 to 75 earthquakes here. That's not normal. Plus, they turn the seismograph off for 6 hours. They purposely limited the number of earthquakes we're going to see here at Calpatria. We probably had just as many earthquakes as we've had here before. Okay? Guaranteed. Guaranteed. I want to take you now to El Centro, where Juanito lives. I pointed out El Centro to you on the map. Look at this, guys. Look at this seismometer here. Look at all the 3.0 and large earthquakes here. Look at all the 3.0 and large earthquakes here. Look towards the bottom here on the left-hand side. This earthquake happened after 12:17 p.m. this afternoon. Look how long that earthquake sequence lasted. It's about a minute. About 60 seconds of earthquake shaking here. They cut off the bottom and they cut off the top of this sequence. This was at least a 3.5 to 4.0 earthquake. El Centro, California. The people here in El Centro felt it. They felt the shaking. The people in El Centro are civilians. There are field workers. Yes, there are fields outside of El Centro where people pick crops. There are also Navy personnel here. Just west of the town of El Centro is El Centro Naval Weapons Station, El Centro, California. I've been there. I've been to El Centro several times. I taught the Navy MPs how to process traffic accidents, so their reports could be used as police officer reports admissible in court. I taught them how to do that. Look at the earthquakes here. There are 50 plus earthquakes here. 50 plus 3.0 earthquakes here. Yes, there are tremors. There are also minor earthquakes here as well. El Centro, California. Go figure. Go figure. I show you Calpatria. Let's go over to Bombay Beach on the east side of the Salton Sea. I pointed out where the Bombay Beach is. Look at this, guys. Now, I don't understand why our numbers are dwindling here of viewers that are watching our program. Said only 45 people watching the program right now. I'm monitoring it. Here at Bombay Beach, look at these earthquakes here. This is not, I repeat, this is not the volcano that's causing these earthquakes here. This is the San Andreas Fault here. This is the San Andreas Fault causing these earthquakes. 3.0, 4.0 earthquakes happening all the time. Yes, there are also minor earthquakes as well. You can see these earthquakes for what they are. They cut off the top and they cut off the bottom sequence. They don't want us to see how strong these earthquakes are. I have been here at Bombay Beach. I felt these earthquakes. I've had friends that felt these earthquakes as well. You feel these earthquakes at the Salton Sea at Bombay Beach all the time. All the time. One other stop here at Holtville. This is the Salton Sea Desert Research Station in Holtville. This sequence here starts at 5 a.m. on the left-hand side top and goes down here to just after 2:40, 2:50 when I pull this side down here. Yes, we're seeing tremors, we're seeing minor earthquakes, but yet, look up here in the center top here on the red line after 6:15. 6:25 a.m. this morning. 6:25 a.m. this morning, we have a 3.5 earthquake here. A 3.5 earthquake here. Yes, we're having some minor earthquakes up on the red line to the top, which is a 5:15 line on the left-hand side. This would be 5:26 a.m. this morning with a 2.8 earthquake. Over on the left-hand side on the blue line, this blue line on the left-hand side would be 7:30. 7:33, we have a 3.0 earthquake here. 3.0 earthquake here. Holtville, California. Holtville, California. I've been here in Holtville. Back in 1974, our school district came over here to compete in a speech and debate tournament with Holtville High School. I won in speech and debate. I was part of the debate team here in Holtville. We came here with the gold medal in debate. We're seeing 3.0, 4.0 earthquakes here in Holtville. Okay? Unreal. Unreal. I need to say also that Renee Steffi's here talking about flash flood warnings in New Mexico and Tennessee. COCKE, Tennessee, severe Tennessee, flash flood warning. Also over in Albuquerque, New Mexico, Socorro, New Mexico area, flash flood warning. If you're there in those towns around that area, go to higher ground immediately. Go to higher ground immediately. You do not want to get caught in a flash flood. 6 inches of water flowing downhill or across the highway or sidewalk can sweep you off your feet. 12 inches of water can haul a car downstream. Go to higher ground. Do not cross a flooded roadway. Don't walk across it. Don't drive across it. If you try to drive across it, the water is already undermining the bottom of the roadway, and it can end up with a sinkhole. And then you will be trapped in your car. Don't do it. Turn around and save your life. Turn around, save your life. Okay? Please do that. Does anybody have any questions about anything we talked about? I know I've talked about a long time here. I've talked about a very long time here, but I wanted to make sure we got out the information. Earthquakes all over this area, guys. Literally. Earthquakes all over this area. Now I have a couple other things I want to talk to you about tonight before we leave. Here in North Carolina, we have a very bad politician here. I'm sorry, it's not her. Julie Mayfield. Julie Mayfield. She is a state senator here from North Carolina, from District 36 here in North Carolina. This is here in Raleigh, North Carolina 2 weeks ago. Protested against President Trump. She was at Raleigh, North Carolina with the No Kings protest. No Kings protesting President Trump. This woman needs to be voted out. If you live here in North Carolina, help me get her out of politics. She needs to be recalled and voted out. We cannot have politicians here and mostly a Republican state, protesting against our president. She needs to be recalled. She needs to be recalled. Now, I want to tell you something. If you go over to her Facebook page, she took this picture down and she readily admits it. She readily admits it. She's carrying a sign here, a banner that she made. A banner that she made against President Trump. She says she's deeply hurt that she was here seen protesting against President Trump, but she was doing it. Now she's apologizing. This woman needs to be removed from politics. She needs to be voted out. She needs to be recalled. Help me recall her and get her out of politics here in North Carolina. We do not need anyone that is voting against President Trump or on a whim goes out in public protesting our president. It's not necessary. It's not necessary at all. Again, we are going to see No Kings protests here on July 4th. I'll get you more information showing the signs that are already made for No Kings protesters around this country on July 4th. Or Independence Day, they're protesting our president. What kind of baloney is that? Incredible. Does anybody have any questions for me? Charlene is asking, is Wind River or Wyoming the highest elevation in the West and the key water source for all tributaries east and west from Wind River? No, it's not. No, it's not. Go up to the Snake River in Wyoming. The Snake River starts, the headwaters of the Snake River are in Wyoming. It goes all the way down through Yellowstone, all the way into Idaho, central Idaho, and comes out in southeastern Idaho. The Snake River is the largest river in Wyoming and Idaho as well. It's probably the highest as well. Rob 52 is here. He says it's too late here. It's not. It's never too late to see you, Rob. God bless you, brother. Rob is a very good friend of mine. He's also a moderator on this program. Surgery that you see here is also a moderator, very dear friend of mine from back in Salt Lake City. I have my friends here as moderators here on this channel. Very dear friends and family. We love our mods here. I want to thank them for being here. God bless you for being here. Does anybody have any questions about anything we've said? We've talked about earthquakes. We've talked about volcanoes. We've also talked about what's been going on with Iran and Israel. We talked about what's going on here in the United States. Very bad juju. Very bad people. Very bad people. Folks, be careful. Be very careful. Again, I want to caution you. If you're out in large groups of people in your town or city, be wary around you. Be very cautious. Be very cautious. Charlene's asking clarification on the flow of the major watershed and how it potentially could be cut off from the public in an earthquake. Now, guys, don't worry about it. I've never seen it happen. I've never seen that happen. Even during the earthquake that happened over in, what was it called? It was over in west of Yellowstone. It was, what was it called? Anyway, over west of West Yellowstone, northwest of West Yellowstone, there was a major earthquake back in 1959 at a lake. The water was not cut off by the earthquake. The water never stopped flowing. The water never stopped flowing at all. I don't think we're going to have a problem with it unless the earthquake is at a dam and the dam is damaged. then the possible water flow might be cut off. But these rivers, for the most part, will not be affected by any kind of earthquakes. Okay? They're not going to be cut off. They're going to continue to flow. Now, just like the Mississippi River in 1810 and 1811, it was altered. The Mississippi River was altered to the east, went over and formed a lake called Real Lake out in Tennessee. Yeah, huge lake. Mississippi River stopped flowing for 7 minutes. 7 minutes. During that 7-minute time, the water deviated its course of the Mississippi River. Formed that lake, Hebgen Lake Estates. Yes, Surgery Hebgen Lake. Thank you, Surgery. Appreciate that. Hebgen Lake over in Wyoming there. That's where that 7.1 earthquake. And the scientists are now saying it was actually an 8.0. Major earthquake either way. 7.1 or an 8.0 still very major earthquake. And 53 people, I think, died from that earthquake. Unreal. Good questions, guys. Good questions. I love each and every one of you. Guys, I haven't mentioned tonight, but I would ask you all to please give us a thumbs up on our program if you enjoyed the presentation tonight. Also, guys, please, if you want to help support this program, you can do so. Scrolling across the bottom of your screen are our PayPal and our Venmo locations. You can send a donation there to our PayPal or Venmo locations. It's there. Right below that is our email address where you can send us comments and criticism about our program or what things that you'd like us to cover when we talk about on the program. rltnspdema at gmail.com. Also, our mailing address is 504 Bethel Road, Box 401, Morganton, North Carolina. The zip code here is 28655. We'd appreciate that. A man named Michael yesterday sent us a $5 donation to PayPal. We greatly appreciate that, Michael. Thank you so much. We love and appreciate each and every one of you. We thank you for being here. We thank you for being here. We love you very much. Now, guys, please pay attention to what I've told you tonight. I've given you the information you need to know that you need to be very cautious about. We live in very troubling times. Very troubling times. Now, I've given you this information before. I'm giving it to you again, right out of the scriptures in Colossians. Colossians chapter 3, verses 23 and 24. Whatsoever ye do, do it heartily. Do it heartily. Don't do it half-hearted. Do it heartily as to the Lord and not unto men. Verse 24. Knowing that of the Lord ye shall receive the reward of the inheritance. For ye serve the Lord Christ. We serve the Lord Jesus Christ. We preach Christ. We love Jesus Christ. We love our Heavenly Father. Rob 52 just gave us a $5 super chat. Rob, thank you so much for that. We really appreciate it. I'm giving you an EMA sticker on your super chat. I'm also giving you a thumbs up. Thank you, Rob. God bless you for that. God bless all of you who will help support this channel to keep it on the air. We greatly appreciate it. Greatly, greatly appreciate it. Guys, in closing out, again, I want you to say to follow the Lord. Follow the Lord. Follow his commandments. We believe in following the letter of the law. We believe in presidents, rulers, and kings, not kings that will become presidents. We don't do that. We only have presidents of the United States in America. That's all. never a king. Our king is Jesus Christ. Our king is Jesus Christ, our Savior. Please remember that. May God be with you this day and always. God be with you until we meet again. We'll see you tomorrow. I hope to be on the air earlier than we were on tonight. I came on the air very late, almost 3 hours late. I'm sorry about that. I hope to be on sometime just after 4 p.m. tomorrow evening, Wednesday evening. We'll see you then. God be with you until we meet again. Have a good one, guys. Thanks, Mark.